Okay, so welcome to another deep dive. And today we are going deep down the rabbit hole, really. This is a fascinating one. A listener sent us, well, I guess you could call it an energy reading about, well, a lot of things, really.
A lot of things.
But I think it boils down to a few major themes. We have spiritual growth, specifically kind of dealing with this feeling of having a broken heart. There's also this concept of a simulated reality, which we've gotten into before on the show.
We have.
But this reading takes kind of a different approach, so that'll be interesting to unpack. And of course, like we always do, we'll try to keep in mind that, our listeners come from a wide variety of backgrounds, different levels of familiarity with these topics. But hopefully we can all kind of go on this journey together, make it accessible, and who knows, maybe we'll come out the other side with some fresh perspectives.
Right. And I think it's important to mention that we'll be sticking closely to the actual content of this reading.
Yeah.
We're really going to dissect the ideas presented, trying to understand the internal logic of the source and what this perspective is trying to tell us.
Exactly. So let's lay out the roadmap for this deep dive. We're going to tackle this journey from brokenheartedness to healing. We'll grapple with this notion of our identities being in constant flux and even the possibility of forces beyond our understanding shaping that process. And yeah, we're going to dive headfirst into this idea of a simulation, try to understand how it all connects back to our own lives and experiences. So buckle up. It's going to be a fascinating ride.
It is. And I think a good starting point would be this core idea of broken hearts that the reading brings up right from the beginning.
Yeah, it's almost presented as this foundational wound, this sort of universal experience of pain that we're all trying to heal from.
It really seems to be the driving force behind that sense of urgency to find healing, that longing for something more.
And the reading doesn't just dwell on the negativity of it either. It actually suggests that we can, and in fact are, constantly breaking free from this pain. Like every day there's this process of liberation happening. But it also hints that it's not necessarily a passive thing.
Right.
Like we need to be actively involved in this healing process, put in the work, so to speak.
Absolutely. And the reading outlines a few specific approaches to this healing. Embracing oneself, knowing who you are at your core, letting go of those beliefs that might be holding us back, and really focusing on the future we want to create. It's about intention and action.
So we start with this focus on personal healing, and then the reading takes a turn towards this idea of identity shifts. There's this feeling that we move forward, we heal, we grow, but then something still feels off. And the reading attributes this in part to another shift, one where we're kind of losing our old identities.
Yeah, it gets a little tricky here. It's like there are layers to this process. We have our individual journeys, but then there's also this bigger picture thing happening, where the earth itself, this plane of existence, is trying to find a balance point. The reading calls it stabilizing the I am presence, or the 0 point.
The 0 point.
It's like imagine a spinning top. The 0 point is that still point in the center, the point of perfect balance around which everything revolves.
Okay, I'm kind of starting to see it.
And the reading suggests that our planet is trying to ground this essential aspect of our being, this 0 point.
Interesting. And it also makes this really bold claim, doesn't it? That the 0 point is actually the source of all creation, all divine energy.
That's right. So, while we're navigating these personal shifts and transformations, there's this larger energetic reality at play, this 0 point, constantly seeking equilibrium and also serving as the wellspring of all creative potential.
Okay, so we have these personal journeys, this planetary balancing act, and then things take a bit of a sci-fi turn. We get this concept of an invasion from the stars. Now, this definitely piqued my interest when I first read it.
Yeah, this is where the reading starts to get really out there.
It does. It suggests that our entire civilization has been influenced by a star race. And the way they've done this, it's not through spaceships or anything like that. It's more subtle. It's through our own beliefs.
Right. The idea is that their consciousness, their laws have been woven into our own understanding of reality. We've internalized them to the point that they feel like our own inherent truths.
And this all ties back to that idea of broken hearts, doesn't it? That feeling of vulnerability, that sense of being wounded, that's presented as the entry point for this influence.
Exactly. It's like the broken heart isn't just a personal problem. It creates this opening, this energetic weakness that allows this external influence to take hold.
So, okay, we have this potential invasion, this quest for balance, and then the reading shifts focus again. Now it's all about waking up and reclaiming our power. And it talks about this ME, the individual self, starting to shed those negative influences. It even mentions, and it really emphasizes this active process of awakening, of consciously shaking off those perceived external influences. And the reading also mentions this resistance from malevolent energies that are supposedly trying to reset us globally.
It suggests that there's this kind of battle happening on a much larger scale, a struggle for control, maybe.
And the way to fight back, the way to counteract this, the reading says it's about embracing that core I am within each of us. When we connect with that fundamental truth, we feel whole, we feel complete. And it ties this back to our true nature as what it calls sentient divine light beings.
Right. It's about recognizing that inherent divinity within each of us. And the focus on I am is about tapping into that infinite wellspring of being.
And it even brings up that idea of humans being fallen angels, but then kind of reinterprets it. It says it's not about being cast out of heaven or anything like that. It's about falling away from responsibility, falling out of love, allowing others to take over our accountability. That's a really different way to look at it.
It is. It shifts the narrative from punishment to abdication. Like we chose to step away from our inherent power and our natural state of connection.
And then the reading introduces this metaphor of humanity as the star child. We have this vital role to play, upholding the laws of creation, using both our hearts and our minds.
It's a beautiful image.
But then the training wheels came off, as the reading puts it. We stumbled, we started to doubt ourselves, lost that sense of love, and started to believe this lie about being banished from paradise. It's like it's reframing that classic story of the fall.
It is. It's a cosmic coming-of-age story. We have this amazing potential, but we went through a phase of confusion and uncertainty, and that led to this deep-seated sense of heartbreak.
So the question then becomes, how do we reclaim our role as the star child? How do we break free from this perceived state of enslavement? And the reading actually lays out some specific steps.
Yeah, it gives us a roadmap, you know? First, it says we need to stop operating from fear. Second, we need to cultivate genuine self-love, not the ego-driven kind, but the kind that's about nurturing and support, both for ourselves and for others. Then it talks about releasing baggage, letting go of all that old emotional stuff that's weighing us down.
Makes sense.
And recognizing that this present moment is a time of huge potential for change. Like we're in this fluid state where anything is possible. And then, and this is key, it says we need to set our own standards as these starseeds, influence those who are, as the reading puts it, heartless and soulless, with the power of our heart frequency.
It's about leading by example, right? Showing the way with our own energy.
Exactly. And it even gives us practical tools for doing that. It talks about using mantras or prayers to shift our internal state, you know? So actively shaping our own energetic reality.
Okay, and this all leads up to this idea of breaking down the tower of control, which I love. It's such a potent image.
It is. It's about dismantling those systems, those beliefs that keep us trapped both within ourselves and in the world around us.
And it's about reclaiming that inherent creative power, that sovereignty that the reading says is our birthright. Okay, so we've journeyed from broken hearts to cosmic origins to reclaiming our power. And then the reading goes full on sci-fi and introduces the concept of a simulation. And this is where things get really, really interesting.
Yeah, this is where it starts to challenge our everyday assumptions about reality in a big way.
It does. It describes an attempt to awaken someone, and maybe this resonates with some of our listeners, from a state of sleep within another reality. And the reason for this, well, the reading suggests that by becoming aware within the simulation, we gain more control over this false reality.
It's like becoming lucid in a dream.
Exactly, yeah. When you realize you're dreaming, you can start to change the dream, to manipulate it.
And this connects to some of the experiences you, our listener, have shared with us. You've talked about feeling like you were in a pod during a near-death experience and during deep meditation. This recurring feeling of trying to wake up on the other side, but there's this veil you can't quite get through.
That feeling of hitting a metallic door, right?
Right.
Like something is blocking us from breaking through.
And the reading claims that upon physical death, there's actually resistance.
That's a fascinating idea.
The reasoning behind that is, well, the entities within the simulation, whatever or whoever they are, they need us here.
They need our energy, our consciousness.
Exactly. It's somehow essential to them or to the functioning of the simulation itself. And it gets even more complex because the reading suggests that we are all collectively creating this false reality.
Like we're all individual pieces of this massive puzzle.
Right, each with infinite potential.
But because we're trapped in this simulation, we have this illusion of being little gods. But in actuality, the reading claims we're the original creators, the ones who set this whole experiment in motion in the first place.
It completely flips the script on who we think we are and what our role is in this reality. We're not just participants, we're the architects.
Mind-blowing, isn't it?
It is.
And what about past lives? Well, the reading says those are just impressions or scripts designed to make us forget our true nature.
They're like backstory. They create this sense of history, this linear timeline that anchors us to the illusion. They make us forget that we're actually these boundless creators.
Of course, all this raises a lot of questions. Was this simulation intentionally hijacked? And what about real history? How much of it is actually genuine if we're living in a simulation?
These are big questions, and the reading doesn't necessarily provide all the answers, but it does acknowledge the mystery, the uncertainty, and your own experience, listener, of trying to break through that veil and then that panicked reaction on the other side.
Right.
Now,
It definitely adds another layer of intrigue.
it does. It makes you wonder about the motives of whoever's on the other side of that veil. Are they trying to help us wake up, or are they trying to keep us asleep?
So here we are at the end of this deep dive. We've explored this listener's source material, and it's been a wild ride. We've talked about the universal pain of broken hearts and the desire to heal, about the shifting nature of identity and the possibility of unseen forces shaping our world.
And about this truly mind-bending concept of a simulated reality, and what it might mean for our understanding of ourselves and our place in the universe.
Absolutely. So, listener, as you go about your day, as you experience the world around you, I want you to consider this. What if you are the creator, not just of your own reality, but of a much larger, grander reality than you ever imagined? What if that feeling of being broken, of being lost, is actually a signpost pointing you back to your true power, your true nature? It's a lot to think about, and we hope this deep dive has given you some food for thought, some new perspectives to explore. Thanks for joining us.